It is Friday, January 28th, 2022, and welcome to the Rare Friday edition of Baseball Today with Plouffe and Rose. Let's see how those eyeballs are after we had that lengthy flight back.
Woo. They're okay. You don't look that bad. I got to be honest with you.
I'm hanging in there.
That's some like Hollywood stuff. Like, do you do some magic to the face or what?
No. This is, I think once you turn 51, it's the age reversal. It's the Benjamin Button. So I'm going to actually start going in reverse.
That is right. Happy birthday to our dad at JOMBOY Media. Turned 51.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell everybody why we were all together in the New York City area, but they were nice enough to get me a cake and sing happy birthday, which was awesome. And then we had a nice almost 6-hour flight home together to Los Angeles. And do you want to just explain real quickly before we get to the baseball topics? We want to hit those.
I'm just going to hit all the
everybody
points.
About your neighbor on the plane.
Yep. First, she was in my seat, when I was trying to sit down. That's always
happens.
Crazy. So she got up, big jacket all over the place, sleeping on my tray, on my shoulder, shoes off, shoes on the tray, or feet without shoes on the tray.
Now that's the part. Shoes off is a big problem. Feet on the tray. That's almost like you want to hit the call button.
Chris, I could keep going.
There was more?
There was more. I told you she was crying. She was pointing the FaceTime at me, and I saw like the boyfriend. It was just the whole thing. It wasn't my most enjoyable flight.
Maybe you're the new boyfriend.
Maybe the guy was like yelling at her because this handsome dude was sitting next to her.
I have to say this. Plouffe and I were we were in the same row, but opposite sides of the aisle. He kept texting me. He's like, "This is the worst flight I've ever had. Help me."
I'm supposed to be on the aisle, and behind the scenes Bill forgot that part, but we're all good. We're here now, right?
All right, let's get to something fun like the lockout. But this is actually a real interesting part of the lockout because I hadn't even considered it. But apparently one of the things that they're talking about is expanded playoffs, which makes sense. Currently, we've got 10 total teams out of 30 that make the postseason. The owners apparently want 14. Sounds like the players want 12. But the interesting twist of the 14-team possible playoffs, you've got 3 division winners, 4 wild cards in each. Each number 1 seed, meaning the division winner with the best record, would get a bye. Then the next 2 division winners would pick which wild cards they want to play.
To me, and there was some counter proposals by the union that got made for 12 teams. And then there was a couple different ways they wanted to go about that, like the divisional changes. So we can go into that maybe on another show. But say we were to go with this 14-team proposal and we did have these teams picking their opponent. I mean, that's what baseball needs. I mean, I don't want to speak on behalf of all the Players Association because clearly I don't. But me as a fan, I mean, how do you not tune in for that? It's front office versus front office. It's fan base versus fan base. It's like a bulletin board material on like an extreme level.
Okay, people say it's too game showy though. They're like, wait a second, why should we have to pick? Like all of a sudden in the middle of the episode, it becomes like The Bachelor.
Hey, you know how good the ratings Bachelor has? Really good.
Hey, listen, I'm with you because I actually know the person who came up with this proposal several years ago. I remember that I was told about it at the winter meetings out in San Diego, and I don't remember which time it was, but they were like, presented it to the owners. The owners didn't hate it. It's a made for TV sort of thing. And there's no way that the GMs or the managers would want any part of this, but that's kind of like the fun part would be to watch them squirm.
Yeah, it kind of puts a little pressure on those front offices because we, as players, we just go do our thing, and the front office, puts us where they want to put us. But now it's like, hey, if someone gets blown out by a team, the finger starting to get pointed to the front office a little bit. That'd be awesome to see.
So let's just play this out for a second. The team that finished second last year in the National League, was that
the Dodgers?
No. They would have been the first wild card. So it would have been the Giants.
Because the division winner, you're right.
It would have been the Brewers that would have been 2, right? And then it would have been the Braves, it would have been 3, then the Dodgers, then the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
Then we'd have to look. I know the Phillies would have been in that 6-7 mix as well with like 82 wins.
Yeah, the extra teams. Yeah.
Yeah. But yes, the fascinating part is figuring out who you match up against. But man, you don't even want to be the team that picks them, because when you're on the other side of the coin, let's say that the Brewers had picked the Phillies to play or something like that. You don't think Bryce Harper and those guys are going to be walking around the clubhouse saying, those motherfuckers?
That's what I'm saying.
Us? They wanted to play us?
Bulletin board material, but actually real. Like they
Yeah.
picked us. This is like a bully calling you out. And this happened to me, Chris. One time, this dude, I thought he was my friend, called me out at a party, older kid than me in high school, wanted to fight me. I didn't even know why. He threw a punch at me and I knocked him out.
Hell yes, you did.
Like this. Yeah. And that's like, I feel so proud of that moment still. But like, that would be like, imagine if the Phillies did that and knocked him out. And like, that city's got bragging rights for a whole year, like big time.
You know, it's grown on me more and more.
It's funny.
Here's 2 other things, and then I want to move on. The bye for the 1 seed, that works great in the NFL, right? Long season. You've played 17 games. You want to rest your body. There is a huge advantage to having that week off. In baseball, you sit out the first round and you haven't played in a week. That ain't necessarily good.
Well, it'd probably be 5 days from the last game until you played, because you'll have a 3-game set. You'll have a travel day and then another travel day probably.
So let's say the season ends on a
It's not
Sunday.
easy. It's not easy.
Yeah. You go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday with that immediate 3-game set, since there's no travel in those first series.
Yeah.
Then you have to reset for Friday, and then you go Saturday.
It's not undoable, but it's not preferable to a player. Like, I mean, a couple days, if it was just a 1-game thing, the wild card, which it's not anymore, and they were not going to go back to that because the 3-game works for them, more games. There's a lot to talk about, but I'm interested in the idea, and I do think it'd at least be entertaining.
Totally. And I know
they better do it at the right time though. I don't want them doing this like Monday at 1 p.m. like when something else is going on. Like that's probably what they would do. They just like do it behind closed doors and not even make an event out of it like they should.
Oh yeah, you mean when they announced the Gold Gloves on an NFL Sunday?
That's true. That's the problem. It is going to have to be on a Sunday. It is going to be at the end of September, and there's probably going to be an incredible football game on, and no one's going to care.
Don't get me started on that.
Here we go.
And one last thing on the 12-team proposal. Now, I haven't seen any definitive plans. I've kicked this around my brain. I don't know how that happens. Do the top 2 teams get buys, and then 3, 4, 5, 6 in each league has to play one another? Because if not, you've got 3 series that come out and you've got 3 winners, and then what do we do?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think they were talking about divisional realignment, going to 2 divisions instead of 3. I think that's what it was.
Oh, well, that's the major shit right there.
I have talked about this for a while. Buck Showalter had the plan, the realignment plan, and some of his stuff was good. But I like doing divisions more based on region, more regional rivalries. That's what our sport needs. So I'm also intrigued by that. I really like the idea of realignment throughout the league.
Okay.
It doesn't really change anything.
I'm all for whatever gets more eyeballs on the sport. I really am far be it from a traditionalist. There's some things I like, but I'm all about trying to make the sport more appealing. Like all those people who say, well, if you change that, I'm leaving. Yep. I'll see you tomorrow. You'll be right back on the doorstep. Don't give me that.
The game's going to change. Like it's just the natural progression of things.
Totally. All right. Let's change topics here. Fish Stripes, which is a website out there that covers the Miami Marlins, says, listen, they need another outfielder and maybe making a play for Bryan Reynolds, since the Pirates are shopping everyone these days, makes perfect sense. Is that an ideal landing spot for Reynolds? Or if not, where do you see him going if he does get traded?
Be a shame if the Pirates traded this guy. I mean, I think he just
rid
turned
of everybody.
27. I know, but he just turned 27. Like, are you ever going to compete? Like, you're just going to give away all your good players? Like, can't this guy perform for the next 6 years admirably for you? Just keep him. Let's go. But like, with that being said, that's a Chris Rose statement. The Marlins are great. I like the idea of it. Right now, I think they have Avisel Garcia penciled in center field. And like, you know, it could work, but he's better suited than the corner spot, I think. And you have Bryan Reynolds come in, you know, he an all-around player, so you're going to get improvement on both sides of the ball. I think it's a great landing spot for him. But like, again, like I said, I hope the Pirates just decide to keep him.
So is that your ideal? Is that the best landing spot?
My ideal landing spot is no takeoff. Just
stay.
Keep the plane on the ground. Yeah.
I think the ideal landing spot is in the state of Pennsylvania with the Phillies.
Yeah.
They have 2 vacancies in the outfield. They're looking for a center fielder. They desperately need one. From what I understand, their farm system is not great. I mean, would you be willing to give up on a guy like Alec Boehm?
If you got me Bryan Reynolds,
I would.
Probably. Yeah.
I would. I mean,
yeah, I mean, look, they're in win now mode in Philly. Like, there's no doubt about it. They have to be. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, I agree with that. I mean, of course, I like Alec Boehm as a player, but this is like a superstar kind of guy you can get. So I think it would probably take more than that, I'd assume.
Oh yeah, no, it's not straight. I said that's where you start.
Yeah, okay.
Because it's a guy who's obviously got, you know, still whatever 5 more years of control or what have you. Because Reynolds has got
years of control.
What's that?
5 more years of control he has
for Boehm.
Oh, I'm talking for Reynolds.
No. Reynolds, I think, has got like 3.
Yeah,
something like that.
That's why he's very expensive in his prime. Cost controlled.
He has over a 900 OPS, and he can ball in center, and he grows interesting facial hair and all that sort of stuff. So I'd like, you know, I want the Phillies to make some sort of play. Like, stop wasting Bryce Harper's time there. Can we step on the accelerator and try something, please?
I mean, they've been trying, but that center field has been tough for them to fill. Who do they have? They had Roman Quinn a little bit.
Odubel Herrera.
They had Hazley, I believe his name is Adam Hazley.
Well, I think they were hoping that maybe McCutchen could play a little bit there, but he's a corner outfielder at this point. Yeah,
he's a corner outfielder at this point in his career. I mean, that makes a ton of sense, Chris. Got to be honest with you. I had a little jet lag fog in my brain, but you coming out clear today.
Trying.
You know what city that we didn't mention?
What's that?
New York.
Oh yeah.
Leave Bryan Reynolds out of New York because you know it is in New York now, Chris. DraftKings Sportsbook is live in New York State. They have mobile sports betting just in time for the football playoffs, Chris. They've been doing these types of deals all year long. Okay. They want you to bet $5 on any playoff team. And if you do that and your team's victorious, 280 in free bets will be put into your account. You got to love that. Bet 5 to win 280. Those are good odds right there. And all you got to do is download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use the promo code JOMBOY and you get 56-1 odds. That's really good on any team. Just bet $5. And like I said, you win the 280 in free bets if your team wins. Promo code JOMBOY this week at DraftKings Sportsbook. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Must be 21 or older and physically present in New York. Gambling problem? Call 877-8-HOPE-NY, HOPENY, or text HOPE-NY 467-369. That's a mouthful right there. I wasn't ready for that.
It's okay. You got through it. You did really well. It was
back
good.
To you. And
all right, we continue on. Obviously, we had an emergency baseball today, a bonus edition after David Ortiz was the lone player that got into the 2022 class via the Baseball Writers of America. No Bonds, no Clemens. I already went over that ad nauseum. So now Bonds and Clemens will likely be headed to the Today's Game Era Committee for a vote in the month of December. That is a 16-person panel made up of Hall of Famers, a couple of veteran media members, and also some league-wide executives. Some pretty big names in the past have been on it. they do change that 16-person crew. Some of the people remain, some are newbies. Just to get onto this ballot for the today's game era, you have to pass through like an 11-person veteran media committee. And so then they put out 10 names. I know it sounds a little confusing, but follow me. It sounds like Bonds and Clemens and Schilling are all going to end up on this ballot. But also a guy like Bruce Bochy might end up on it. A guy like Kenny Lofton could end up on it. And by the way, this 16-person panel can then only vote for 4 of the 10. Okay, so I hope everybody is understanding. The greater point here is, do we think that this committee, and it's still 11 months away, will right what some of us saw as a wrong?
It's really hard to say because we are talking about, and I'm just speaking from the players. We are the writers that are involved in this. We kind of already have seen what they think, right? So now we're talking veteran players. And I'm curious to see if any of them kind of change their tune, because in the article you sent me, it references an Ozzie Smith quote from 2010. And basically it says, once you've been, connected to steroids, you're automatically ineligible for the Hall of Fame.
And just for clarification, Ozzie has been a voting member of this panel several times.
Yes. But, I don't know if his perspective has changed since then. I think around the game, it has changed a little bit since then, as we continue to view the Hall of Fame in kind of a different light. A lot of these guys see the public perception or the public reaction when Bonds and Clemens didn't get in. So I'm curious to see, do they look at that? Do they take that into account? Have they personally changed? I know you and I talked about that last night a little bit. I've kind of softened my stance on it just because I still don't like steroids in the game, and I'm really against them. I never did them, and I definitely frown upon guys that do. But my view of the Hall of Fame as a whole has changed, and so I think my view on those guys' candidacy is also changed. I'm curious to see if Ozzie and the other guys that are on the list who voted Bud Selig in, same thing that we're talking about here. Yeah. If they give the nod now to these guys, as like I said, they've seen the public outcry.
Well, Andrew Baggerly, who covers the Giants for The Athletic, if you have The Athletic, go read this column. It is phenomenal because he is talking about it from a political standpoint. If you think that the baseball writers of America, sometimes their voting is a little wayward, go look at some of the backroom agreements that some of the people on this committee have made, right? Bud Selig got 15 out of 16 votes, I believe. Harold Baines got pushed in part because Jerry Reinsdorf was on this committee. And Jerry Reinsdorf, of course, the owner for the White Sox, and Harold Baines played, a decent amount of his career. And, he wasn't a lifelong White Sox by any mean, but he started his career there and all that sort of stuff. And so I'm not going to say he got pushed through, but.
Well, Chris, he got 6% of the votes on the last time through the ballot. The first
the baseball
ballot.
writers.
The baseball writers. So 6% to making it into the Hall of Fame. A little strange. I mean, shout out Harold Baines.
I don't know what sort of politics go on in there.
Well, you do. You do know what politics.
If you connect dots, you do. We don't know because we're not privy to the information.
Sure.
But man, it doesn't smell very clean. And so I'm going to be very curious. So when all the active players are up in arms, and some recent retirees as well are up in arms, motherfucking all the baseball writers saying you should never have a vote. You never played. You don't know what you're doing. There's going to be a bunch of Hall of Famers in this room who did play and were some of the greatest that ever played. And they might be the ones that keep Bonds and Clemens out too. So just remember that, as my man Michael Irvin used to say, don't lose the intensity. If this committee does not put Bonds and Clemens in the Hall of Fame, just like the writers didn't, you better take your shots at them too.
I will. I mean, I've told you how I feel about this. The fact that there was, greenies, amphetamines running rampant through clubhouses in the past. I mean, what are we doing here? We'll see, man. I think we will see these guys get pushed in the Hall of Fame because I believe it's the right thing. And I think, like I said, I think these guys they're both on social media. You know, we're talking about Greg Maddux is all around doing things. Ozzy's on social media. They see what's the talk of the town. They see what's going on in the baseball world, and I believe that'll change their mind if they hadn't already.
Maybe I should try to get Ozzy on the Rose rotation.
So yeah, I'd be really curious to see, like, hey, this was your quote from 2010. Like, have you gotten off that stance? And I bet you it's softened. I think a lot of people have softened their stances.
I hope so.
And it's okay to do that.
Yes. What?
Oh, I said it's okay to do that.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We change. We adapt. Last thing, Gordon Beckham, former number 8 overall pick of the Chicago White Sox in the 2008 draft class. So who is your favorite number 8 all time in baseball history?
You think Reinsdorf is going to push Gordon to the Hall of Fame? He could. No, I'm just kidding. First of all, number 8, I always think of Kobe. I even got the hat on right now. But we're talking baseball. I'm not going to go someone super famous. Obviously, there's Cal Ripken out there. A lot of good guys wore the number 8. This one's a little more personal to me. I'm going to go Jamie Carroll, Snowman for the Twins. Him and I developed a little moniker together. We were the gritty utility infielders.
Oh.
And he really impacted my career a lot, like taught me a lot about defensive positioning, reading hitters, reading pitches, all that good stuff. And Dan, I'm going to give you a little project here. Jamie and I turned a double play that David Ortiz hit. So recently inducted Hall of Fame member David Ortiz hit a rocket up the middle. Jamie dove for it, glove side, flipped it to me. I was in the shift, bro. Bare hand, whammed it to first. So get that clip so I can feel myself a little bit, Dan. But Jamie Carroll's my number 8. You'll always be my number 8.
Nice.
Good guy. Love you. You?
Didn't Jamie? Doesn't he have twins?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought he and Joe Mauer were 2 guys on the Twins who had twins.
Hard worker, man.
Yeah,
he can play defense.
Yeah, good dude. I like him. For me, I was introduced to him when he was wearing number 10 for the Montreal Expos, and that's really when I fell in love with his game. But he was number 8 when he won NL MVP with the Chicago Cubs. That is the Hawk, Andre Dawson, one of my favorite players. That shitty turf up at the Olympic Stadium in Montreal probably robbed him of some even more amazing numbers, and he had a fantastic Hall of Fame career. Finally got to meet him a few times at the celebrity softball game during the All-Star game, and he is still jacked.
When was this?
Huh?
When was this?
He was probably in his late 50s, early 60s. I think. Oh, he is just, he is as put together as they come, and a super sweet man, but intimidating. And I think Millar, I hope I'm remembering this story right. He finished his career with the Marlins, and Millar was a teammate of his, and he wanted Barry Bonds to sign a bat. So he had sent it over, and Barry's like, nah, ain't happening. And Hawk heard about it. He goes up to Millar. He's like, what happened? He said, yeah, I sent a bat over. It didn't get signed. He goes, hold on. Give me the bat. He walked over into the Giants clubhouse. Now, nobody knows the story, what happened, but you could imagine it was like, fucking sign this thing.
Hawk, man. Thinking about him on the Marlins is something.
Yeah, I know, right? But, you talk about a guy who is a leader and just with a death stare and looked like he could hit the baseball just through a brick wall.
He did. My goodness. He probably hit a few through that brick wall out there, Wrigley.
He was awesome.
That's a cool one. I like that. And a great nickname.
Yeah,
awesome.
Great one. All right, so what do you have coming up this weekend or anything? Are you going to the NFC title game?
I don't think so. I am exhausted, bro. I want to just chill in my house, watch the game on the couch.
Okay.
Yeah, and we'll see where it goes. Hopefully get those Rams in the Super Bowl. But then next week, all the stuff starts over again. We got talking baseball coming out. You and I will be back doing stuff together. What about you?
The latest episode of the Rose Rotation will drop on Monday with Tyler Glass now as we check in with him in between vacations. He's always a fun chat. He will not be going to Montreal to split time next year between Tampa Bay and Montreal. He'll give us his thoughts on that. Also, obviously, he's a player rep, so we'll be talking about negotiations.
Like that.
He apparently is back very close to throwing a baseball. We'll go over the timeline. Could he be ready by August or September? Will we break some news?
Okay. Chris.
Yeah.
You were talking about how jacked Andre Dawson looked.
Yeah.
Now, I was hanging out with you on your 51st birthday. We were in the JOMBOY Media offices in Manhattan. We took a picture. We sent it out. I was with the crew. A lot of people commenting how good you looked. And like, dang, we didn't know C. Rosie was like jacked up like that, like roped. You know what else is going on in those offices, though?
No.
This weekend, those two idiots, Jimmy and Jake, they're going to be sitting in the DraftKings lounge watching the game. They're going to be partaking in a live betting competition. I'm not sure what they're going to do. They're going to make it fun, obviously. Both of them are not good bettors. I have talked to Jake about some football lines here and there. Has not turned out well for me, so I can't imagine it's going to change at all. That's this Sunday, January 30th. They're live streaming the NFC Championship game. That's going to be on the JOMBOY and Jake YouTube channel. You can sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook, and you get to a $1,000 deposit bonus and site credits with your first deposit. So watch along with them. It's going to be a great game, and see if you can make a little cash. They probably won't, so fade them.
Listen, have a great time this weekend. I wish your new BFF, Maddie Stafford, good luck this weekend. I think that's going to be a phenomenal game. So enjoy the football. Hopefully we will have some movement on the baseball negotiation front in the near future. Everybody be healthy out there. Be safe. We will see you again Tuesday on Baseball Today. Thanks for hanging out with us.